So the other day, I was sat back enjoying a nice glass of strawberry Ribena. I said enjoying a nice glass of strawberry Ribena. Prick. When I thought to myself, what would actually be the best Black Ops 6 perk to have in real life? So today we are going to go. Today we're going to go over every single Black Ops 6 perk, including some entries from previous games, to find out what the most fun or useful Thank you for watching. Let's get into it. First up is Quick Revive. Quick Revive, like in the name, lets you revive your teammates at about half the speed. Not just that, but you also heal in half the time, as well as being able to pick yourself up off the floor and being able to avoid death completely on 1 HP. The real world implications for this is actually quite interesting. I like to picture it as if you were to get kicked in the nutsack, for example, it would take half the amount of time to not be in that pain. Similarly, if you were to get cut on your arm, it would take half the time to scab over. Or, if you were on the brink of death, you would just like straight up survive it. You could just jump off a cliff and survive it, but you would need to take Quick Revive again, which is a risky game in itself considering how dogshit the ingredients are. Like if you want to see a video on that. All in all, quite a good perk in real life. Maybe it would be too OP if you could just revive people from the dead, so I think that's banned. Either way, moving on to Melee Makiato. Melee Makiato is a perk that lets you swing your melee weapon faster, as well as doing 3 times more damage. Not just that, it also lets you absolutely thundercunt a zombie in the mouth. Boom! Now, are there any practical, in real life uses for this? Yes. Categorically yes. Imagine little Timmy is being bullied on the playground, alright? But for breakfast, he wanted to be big and strong. He chugged a Melee Makiato and went to school, alright? That's when all of a sudden, Billy Big Bollocks comes on over and starts beef with him. You think Timmy's gonna keel over? No. Fuck no. He's had his Melee Makiato this morning. Timmy uppercuts Billy the bitch into the sun. See you later, Billy. Problem solved. Melee Makiato claims another life. If you're a boxer as well, it would be insane. I think the practical purposes of Melee Makiato are self-defense, or if you're a boxer. But if you are a boxer and you had this, you would probably kill your opponent. So I think as a boxer, the better perk that you might want is the perk we're moving on to here. Speed Collar is a perk that lets you reload faster and plate up faster. And if you ever wanted to figure out how fucking stupid I am, in the B-roll footage behind you, I am literally using an LMG that cannot reload. Yes, I need extra time on exams. When I was playing on stream and proposed this question to my viewers, make sure to swing by. A lot of people mentioned Speed Cola, and I'm gonna bring you guys back down to earth, okay? Speed Cola in real life would be an incredible perk. Don't get it wrong. You could type really fast, you could write fast, draw fast, paint fast, hell, you could go finger your... You could do everything with your hands fast. It would be unbelievable. Don't get me wrong. But I think it's limited to only things with your hands, right? Which is still cracked. It's a short and sweet one. I still think Speed Collar is great. To be fair, at the gym, that could be kind of sick. Lifting weights, like heavy weights, but really fucking fast, that's such a flex. Speed Collar is a great idea for real life, but I think there are better ones. So let's move on to those. Double Tap is arguably one of the best perks in Black Ops 6 Zombies. It doubles your fire rate, it increases your damage, and has a bunch of augments that can just easily wipe zombies out. Now, can you apply this to real life? Would it be good in real life? Fuck no. If anyone in the comments can name me a single use for Double Tap in real life, let me know. I need to know. There are other perks that are just weapon-based specifically, such as Deadshot. I'll get more into that when we're there, but I actually think Deadshot would be cracked, whereas Double Tap, no. What is the point? I think this has to be probably the worst perk that you could possibly pick to have in real life. I can only think of some minor reasons why you might. The first one, a Nerf gun fight would be absolutely crazy. Being able to shoot someone faster and shoot them harder would be hilarious. Imagine you're just 1v1ing one of your siblings in the back garden on a hot summer's day with a water pistol, and you're just shooting them, and they're getting it in their eyes, and it's feeling like fucking vodka's going into their eyes. That would be hilarious too. The only thing that I could possibly think Double Tap would be good for is one of those. Maybe if you're an army man, you can shoot your gun twice as fast. You'd probably get reported to your officer in command though, for tampering with a weapon, and then you'd get shot on the spot. So, for me, Double Tap, But moving on to our next one, the polar opposite. I think this is probably the best one to have in real life. Hear me out.
Don't you ever besmirch Billy.
Moving on to Stamina Up. Stamina Up has to be by far the best real life perk. Stamina Up is a perk that lets you run faster and sprint infinitely. Not only that, but you can aim down sights and run faster, you can throw equipment and run faster, and you also take no full damage. Are you hearing this? What I'm trying to say to you, my pedigree chums, if I were to have Stamina Up, I would be able to run so fast. I would never get out of breath, so I could run a marathon as a sprint. I could jump from a building, not take any damage, and be perfectly fine, and I can carry heavy shit whilst running at the same speed whilst that not letting me, that was not English, hold on, without it weighing me back. To put that into perspective, I searched how heavy an LMG is on average. It is about 8.5 kilograms, or I don't fucking know, like 20 pounds if you're American. You'd be able to run with that as a sprint as if you weren't even carrying it. It's crazy. You could carry a 30 kg dumbbell, jump off of a building, land as if you were just landing on a bed from a 2-foot drop. Look, I'm not going to keep going because I'll be here for hours. You can see my point. This is by far the best perk that you could have in real life. End of conversation. Moving on. Juggernog is a perk that gives you an extra 100 HP. That's pretty much it. Of course, there are arguments which change kind of what it does, but the baseline is it gives you more HP. The real life applications of Juggernog are kind of wavy. I'm thinking if you were to get hurt, it would take like a 50% damage reduction off. So let's just say you get punched in the face, right? That wouldn't hurt nearly as much, but it would still hurt. Just like if you have Juggernog, you can still take damage, but it just, you know, you can take more damage. You'd be harder to kill, which is cool, I guess. I think it might protect you from some like illnesses and some, you know, word I probably can't say on YouTube. I'm just gonna spell it out in army phonetics. Some Sierra Tango Indias. Other than that, though, I can't really think of any practical applications for Juggernog in real life. If you can, again, let me know in the comments. Personally, I don't think it would be the most crazy useful one. So moving on.
Ooh, piece of candy. Ooh, piece of candy. Ooh, piece of candy.
Vulture is a perk that lets you get extra items on drop every zombie kill. Illusion Whip, I hear you asking. What the hell kind of use could that have in real life? None. Unless there was an actual zombie apocalypse, but that is another video I want to do. Each and every single zombies perk in a zombies apocalypse in real life and how useful they would be. If you want to see that, leave a like, let your boy know in the comments. But otherwise, Vulture. Deadshot Decorate is a perk that lets you get extra headshot damage, and if you're on controller, it lets you scope in on zombies' heads with a click of a button. For real life, that's kind of what I'm going for here. Let's just say you're in an army, okay? And you're in a shootout. Imagine how disgusting it would be if you were just like clicking heads, bro. And the difference with this and double tap is that this is just built into you. With double tap, they would think you're tampering with the weapon though. That's why I'd give Deadshot at the edge over double tap. Like imagine a training course where you just like have to shoot tin cans and shit and you just pop 3 tin cans in a row in a split second. It would be so cold. Of all the perks that I've listed so far, this is probably not one of the best ones, but it's still really cool, especially if you're a gunsman. Anyways, moving on. PhD Flopper and PhD Slider let you do an explosive flop and explosive slide, respectively. These are both a good way of getting around and doing damage. But in a real life situation, I think PhD Slider takes the cake. How sick would it be if you were just sliding around the town center? You'd actually get the police called on you so fast. What the fuck drugs are this guy doing? I think it would be gas. I still would think Stamina would be the better way to get around here. But PhD Flopper and PhD Slider are both hilarious. I think you can even flop off of a building and not take damage. But you gotta make sure you're flopping off the building and not just jumping, otherwise you will splat when you hit the ground. All in all, I think this would be quite a funny one to have IRL, but it would not be the one I pick, personally.
Hello, how are you? I am under the water. Please help me.
Elemental Fizz is a perk that applies random ammo mods whenever you shoot your gun at zombies. Yeah, so, are we all in agreement when I skip? Death Perception is a perk that lets you see enemies and sometimes items through walls. Of all the perks we've covered so far, I think this one has to be one of the better ones. Not because I'm a pervert. Hear me out. You know that annoying moment when you've lost your phone in your room and you cannot find it, or your keys or something? I think the practical use of depth perception would just to be able to find that instantly. Albeit if it is in the same room. If it's somewhere else, you wouldn't be able to. But you'd be able to see through walls. Similarly, you can see people through walls. You can't see through their clothes. I repeat, you can't see through their clothes. Get your mind out the gutter. I think depth perception would be a cool one with actual practical uses. Not sure how useful it would be to see. I mean, you'd be the world's champion at hide and seek. But then again, you cannot turn it off as known in the game unless you go down. So maybe you get a little freaked out. You could probably see like bugs and shit through walls as well. You know how many spiders are in your room. I actually would not like that. Out of sight, out of mind, dude. Either way, depth perception, pretty cool. Probably one of the better ones. Not the one I would take. But with all that said and done, that's going to do it for this video. I said at the start that I'd include entries from previous games, but then I realized, you know, I'm not going to do that.
You suck, you jackass.
And also the fact that if I edit that out, it ruins the rest of the video, so I cannot take it out, so I apologize. If you want to see me do perks from previous games, let your boy know. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you like the idea, you know what to do. But if that is everything, gamers, I'll catch you on the website. Mwah.